Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something today that might change the way you look at your future. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants options. But what most people don't understand is this money does not chase people. Money chases skills. In 2026, the world is not going to pay you for how hard you work. It's going to pay you for how valuable you are. If you can solve problems that other people can't solve, you will never be broke another day in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you real straight for a moment, because this is something a lot of people here don't want to hear, but everybody needs to understand. Wealth in 2026 is not going to belong to the most talented people, the most educated people, or even the hardest working people. It's going to belong to the most adaptable people. See, talent is nice, but talent alone won't save you when the world changes. And the world is changing faster than it ever has before. There was a time when if you learned one skill, you could ride that skill for 30 or 40 years and retire comfortably. Those days are gone. That mindset will keep you struggling. The people who are winning right now are not the ones holding on to what they used to know. They are the ones willing to let go, relearn, and rebuild themselves again and again. Adaptability is the ability to say, I know this yet, but I'm willing to learn it. That humility right there is expensive. It pays. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they resist change. They get comfortable. They say things like, this is how I've always done it, or I'm not good with new things, or I'm too old to start over. Let me tell you something, comfort is the enemy of growth. The moment you get comfortable is the moment you stop evolving. And if you stop evolving, the world will move right past you without apology. In 2026, the marketplace is not asking for perfection. It's asking for flexibility. Can you adjust when your plan doesn't work? Can you pivot when an opportunity looks different than you expected? Can you learn a new system, a new platform, a new way of thinking without complaining the whole time? Because the people who can do that will always be in demand. They may lose a job, but they'll never lose their value. Adaptable people don't panic when things change. They get curious. This is unfair. They ask, how can I use this? Instead of saying, this is hard, they say, this is new. That shift in thinking changes everything. The world doesn't reward people who sit around wishing for the old days. It rewards people who master the new days. Let me make this clear. Adaptability is a skill you practice, not a personality trait you're born with. You build it by putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. You build it by learning things that don't come easy at first. You build it by being willing to look stupid for a little while so you don't stay stuck forever. Pride has kept more people broke than lack of opportunity ever did. Every major breakthrough in your life is going to require an adjustment. New level, new rules. You can't take old habits into a new future and expect new results. The reason some people keep missing their moment is because they refuse to update themselves. They want new blessings with old mindsets. That doesn't work. Adaptable people understand something powerful. Your past success does not guarantee future success. Just because something worked before doesn't mean it will work again. That's not fear, that's awareness. And awareness keeps you ahead of the curve. While others are talking about how things used to be, adaptable people are quietly positioning themselves for what's coming next. Here's the truth most people ignore. The world will not slow down for you. Technology won't wait for you. Competition won't pause for you. If you don't adapt, you don't get to complain. But if you do adapt, if you stay open, teachable, and willing to grow, there is no limit to how far you can go. In 2026, wealth will flow to the people who can adjust their mindset, their skill set, and their approach without losing their confidence. You don't need to know everything. You just need to be willing to learn anything that moves you forward. When you master adaptability, you become dangerous in a good way. because no matter what changes, you will always find a way to win. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that might shock some people, but it's the truth whether you like it or not. In 2026, the world is not going to ask you where you went to school before it decides how much you're worth. It's going to ask one simple question: what can you do? Degrees look good on the wall, but skills put food on the table. And if all you have is a certificate with no ability behind it, life is going to be very expensive for you. See, for years we were taught one formula: go to school, get a degree, get a job, and you'll be secure. That formula worked back then, but times have changed. Jobs are disappearing, industries are shifting, the automation doesn't care how hard you studied. The marketplace rewards results, not race, some A's. You can have a master's degree and still be replaced by somebody who knows how to solve problems faster and better than you. Now, don't misunderstand me. Education is valuable. Learning is powerful. But education without skill is incomplete. Too many people stop learning the moment they graduate. They think the paper means they've arrived. But the truth is, graduation is not the finish line. It's just permission to enter the race. If you don't keep sharpening your abilities, that degree slowly loses its power. In 2026, the people who will be rich are the ones who can produce value on demand. If you can fix something, create something, explain something, sell something, or improve something, you will always have leverage. Skills give you options. Degrees often give you rules. Skills let you move. Degrees sometimes make you wait. Let me say this clearly: skills make you independent. When you have skills, you're not desperate. You're not begging for opportunities, because opportunities start looking for you. A skilled person can walk into a room and say, I can help. And the world pays very well for people who can help solve problems. Most people are broke not because they're lazy, but because they're relying on one source of income tied to one outdated skill. They learned how to do one thing one way, and when that way stopped working, they panicked. But skilled people pivot. They adjust. They add new abilities on top of old ones. They stay relevant. Skills also give you confidence, real confidence. Not the loud kind. I'm not the fake kind. The quiet confidence that comes from knowing, no matter what happens, I can figure this out. When you know you have something valuable to offer, rejection or failure doesn't stop you. You know you can get back up because your value didn't disappear. Here's another truth people don't like to hear. Nobody owes you success because you studied hard. The world doesn't grade on effort. It grades on impact. You can work hard at the wrong thing and still struggle. But when you build skills that the market actually needs, effort turns into income. In 2026, learning a skill is easier than it's ever been. Information is everywhere. Tutorials, courses, mentors, communities. You don't need permission to learn anymore. What you need is discipline. You need the willingness to practice when nobody is watching, to fail privately so you can win publicly later. Skilled people understand delayed gratification. They're willing to be beginners again. They're willing to look foolish for a season so they don't stay stuck for a lifetime. Pride will keep you average. Humility will make you wealthy. When you accept that you don't know everything and stay teachable, growth becomes inevitable. Let me tell you something powerful: skills stack. One skill might pay the bills, but multiple skills create wealth. When you combine abilities, your value multiplies. That's how people separate themselves. They don't just do one thing, they do it in a way most people can't. And uniqueness is expensive. The rarer your skill set, the higher your income potential. In the end, ladies and gentlemen, degrees may open doors, but skills keep them open. Titles may impress people, but ability earns respect. If you want to be rich in 2026, stop asking what you studied and start asking what you're building. Because skills don't expire when you keep sharpening them, and a sharp skill will cut through any obstacle standing between you and the life you want. Ladies and gentlemen, Let me tell you something that a lot of people are overlooking while they're busy being distracted. In 2026, digital intelligence is not optional. It's not a bonus skill. It's not just for young people or tech people. It is a survival skill. The world is now running on screens, systems, and software. And if you don't understand how that world works, you will always be working for someone who does. Now listen to me carefully. I'm not saying you need to be a computer genius. I'm saying you need to be aware. You need to understand how information moves, how attention is captured, and how value is created online. Because right now, somebody is making money from your attention. Somebody is building wealth platforms you use every single day for free. The question is not whether the internet works. The question is whether you're working it or it's working you. Digital intelligence starts with understanding that the internet is not just for entertainment, it's a marketplace. Every scroll is a business opportunity in disguise. Every platform is a stage, every phone is a tool. But most people are using powerful tools like toys. They consume, but they don't create, but they don't build. And consumption without creation will keep you broke. In 2026, the people who are rich are not necessarily the people with the most followers. They are the people who understand how to turn attention into income. They know how to package ideas, share value, and solve problems using digital tools. They understand branding, positioning, and visibility. They know that if people don't know you exist, they can't pay you. Digital intelligence also means knowing how fast things change. What works today might not work next year. Platforms rise and fall. Trends come and go. Algorithms change overnight. If you get emotionally attached to one way of doing things, you will struggle. But if you understand the principles behind the platforms, value, consistency, engagement, you can adapt anywhere. Here's where most people mess up. They say, I don't like technology, or I'm not good at social media, or that's not my thing. Let me help you right now. It doesn't have to be your thing. It has to be your tool. You don't have to love it, but you do have to learn it. Because the market doesn't care about your preferences. It rewards your competence. Digital intelligence is also about speed. Information moves fast, and opportunities don't wait. The people who win are the ones who can learn quickly, apply quickly, and adjust quickly. While others are still overthinking, digitally intelligent people are testing, posting, improving, and growing. They understand that perfection is the enemy of progress online. Another thing you need to understand is this: your digital presence is your reputation. Whether you like it or not, people will search your name. They will check your content. They will judge your value based on what they see. In 2026, if you don't define yourself online, someone else will. And you may not like the story they tell. Digitally intelligent people are intentional. They know what message they're putting out and why. This skill also requires discipline. Just because you can be online all day doesn't mean you should be distracted all day. There's a difference between using the internet and wasting time on it. Rich people online are focused. They schedule their time. They learn when to log off. They understand that attention is currency and they protect it. Let me tell you something powerful. Digital intelligence gives you leverage. It allows one effort to reach thousands, sometimes millions. It allows you to earn while you sleep. It allows your voice to travel farther than your body ever could. But leverage only works for people who respect the tool. If you treat it casually, it will pay you casually. If you treat it seriously, it can change your life. A lot of people are waiting to be chosen. Digitally intelligent people choose themselves. They don't wait for a boss to promote them. They don't wait for permission to share their ideas. They build their own platforms, their own audiences, their own lanes. And once you own attention, income becomes a strategy, not a struggle. In 2026, wealth will flow to people who understand that digital skills are not replacing hard work. They are multiplying it. When you combine effort with digital intelligence, your reach expands, your opportunities grow, and your income potential increases. The future is already here. The only question is whether you're prepared to meet it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about a skill that has quietly created millionaires long before technology and will continue to do so long after trends change. Communication. This right here is one of the most underestimated skills on the planet, yet it controls opportunities, income, relationships, and influence. In 2026, if you cannot communicate clearly, confidently, and effectively, you will struggle not because you're not capable, but because the world cannot see your value. You can be smart, talented, skilled, and hardworking, but if you cannot express what you know, it's like having money in a bank account with no access card. Communication is the bridge between your ability and your reward. The marketplace does not pay you for what you know in your head. It pays you for what you can transfer into someone else's understanding. Most people think communication is just talking. It's not. It's connecting. It's listening. It's understanding people and respond in a way that moves them to action. In 2026, the people who will be rich are the ones who can explain complex things simply, who can inspire trust with their words, and who can influence decisions without force. That is power. Let me tell you why so many people stay stuck. They have ideas, but they don't know how to present them. They have opinions, but they don't know how to articulate them. They have dreams, but they don't know how to pitch them. And because of that, their ideas stay trapped inside them. Unspoken value earns $0. Communication affects every area of your life. If you can't communicate, you can't negotiate, you can't increase your income. If you can't express your worth, someone else will decide it for you. And they usually decide low. And people who speak well are often mistaken for being more capable, more confident, and more valuable. That's not an accident. That's perception. Perception pays. In 2026, communication is not just face-to-face. It's digital. It's written. It's visual. It's verbal. Emails, messages, videos, presentations. Your words are constantly representing you, even when you're not in the room. Every sentence you send is either building your credibility or damaging it. Skilled communicators are intentional. They think before they speak. They know when to talk and when to listen. Here's something most people don't realize: confidence comes after competence, but communication helps reveal both. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be clear. Clarity beats charisma every single time. When people understand you, they trust you. When they trust you, they pay you. Communication also determines leadership. People don't follow titles, they follow clarity. If you can paint a picture with your words, people will walk with you. If you can explain the vision, people will support it. If you can speak with conviction, people will believe. In 2026, leadership will belong to those who can communicate purpose, not just instructions. Now, let me be honest, most people are afraid to communicate and are afraid of being judged, afraid of sounding foolish, afraid of rejection. But silence is far more dangerous than criticism. You can't grow what you won't show. Every successful communicator was once nervous. Every powerful speaker once doubted themselves. The difference is they practiced anyway. Communication is a skill you build, not a gift you're born with. You improve it by speaking up even when your voice shakes. You sharpen it by reading, listening, and learning how great communicators move people. You strengthen it by paying attention to how your words land, not just how they sound in your head. In 2026, storytelling will be one of the most profitable forms of communication. People don't buy facts, they buy feelings. They remember stories, not statistics. If you can tell a story that makes people see themselves in it, you can sell ideas, products, and visions without sounding salesy. That's influence. Let me tell you something powerful. Communication gives you control over your narrative. If you don't tell your story, someone else will, and they may get it wrong. When you learn how to speak for yourself, advocate for yourself, and represent yourself, you stop being overlooked. The people who win are not always the most qualified. They are often the most understood. In 2026, your ability to communicate will determine how far your skills can take you. Words open doors. Words create opportunities. Words build wealth. And the moment you decide to master how you communicate, you increase the value, everything you bring to the table. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very honest with you today, because this is where most people miss it. Discipline is not exciting. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't give you instant rewards. But discipline is one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop if you want to be rich in 2026. Motivation will hype you up, but discipline will change your life. Motivation talks. Discipline works. Most people are waiting to feel ready before they act. They're waiting for confidence, waiting for the right mood, waiting for the perfect time. Let me tell you something, the perfect time does not exist. The people who win are not the ones who feel like doing it every day. They're the ones who do it even when they don't feel like it. Discipline means you show up when it's boring, when it's hard, and when nobody is watching. Here's the truth. Success is built in private. Nobody sees the early mornings. Nobody sees the late nights. Nobody sees the repetition, the practice, the failures. They only see the results and call it luck. But discipline is never lucky. Discipline is intentional. It's choosing long-term reward over short-term comfort. In 2026, the world will be full of distractions. Notifications, entertainment, opinions, noise everywhere. Discipline is the ability to say no to what feels good now so you can say yes to what matters later. Every time you choose discipline, you are voting for the future version of yourself. Every time you choose comfort, you are delaying that future. Let me tell you why discipline creates wealth. Because discipline creates consistency, and consistency compounds. Small actions done daily don't look powerful in the beginning, but over time they separate you from everyone else. Reading a little every day, practicing a skill every day, improving just 1% every day. People underestimate how far that will take them. Disciplined people want fast results. Disciplined people understand patience. They know that building something meaningful takes time. They're not discouraged by slow progress because they trust the process. They know that as long as they keep showing up, results will come. And when results come, they come big. Discipline also protects you. It keeps you focused when opportunities try to pull you in too many directions. Not every opportunity is for you. Some opportunities are distractions dressed up as blessings. Disciplined people know their priorities. They don't chase everything. They commit to a few things and execute them well. Let me say something real. Discipline is a form of self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, your confidence grows. When you break promises to yourself, your confidence disappears. Every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you teach yourself not to trust yourself. But when you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, you build inner strength, and that strength shows up in every area of your life. In 2026, nobody will force you to be disciplined. Nobody will stand over you. You will have freedom. And freedom without discipline is dangerous. Freedom without structure leads to chaos. Discipline is what allows you to enjoy freedom without destroying your future. A lot of people think discipline means suffering. It doesn't. Discipline means direction. It means you know where you're going. It means your actions match your goals. It means you don't let temporary feelings control permanent decisions. Feelings change. Discipline stays. Here's another truth. Discipline is built through habits. You don't become disciplined by making one big decision. You become disciplined by making small, right decisions over and over again. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the work you planned to do. Sticking to your schedule. Those small wins add up. Disciplined people don't wait for accountability. They hold themselves accountable. They don't need someone to push them. They push themselves. They understand that nobody will care about their future as much as they do. That mindset alone puts them ahead. Let me tell you something powerful. Discipline will take you places motivation never could. When motivation fades, discipline keeps going. When excitement wears off, discipline stays steady. When others quit, discipline keeps you in the game. And staying in the game long enough is how wealth is built. In 2026, the gap between disciplined people and undisciplined people will be massive. Not because one group is smarter, but because one group stayed consistent while the other kept starting over. Discipline doesn't just change what you do. It changes who you become. And when you become disciplined, success is no longer a question of if, it's only a matter of when. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about the one skill that controls every other skill you will ever try to build: mindset. You can have talent, education, opportunities, and resources, but if your mindset is broken, none of that will save you. In 2026, the biggest difference between people who are rich and people who are struggling will not be luck or background. It will be how they think. Most people lose the battle before they even start because they don't believe they deserve more. They want success, but deep down they don't see themselves as successful. They want wealth, but they secretly believe money is for other people. And what you believe on the inside will always show up on the outside. Life has a way of agreeing with you. If you think small, life stays small. If you think bigger, life expands. Your mindset determines how you respond to problems. When something goes wrong, some people say, "Why does this always happen to me?" Others say, "What is this trying to teach me?" Same problem, different mindset, completely different future. In 2026, problems will not disappear. Challenges will still exist. The people who get rich are the ones who don't fall apart when things get hard. They get sharper. Let me be real with you. Failure is not the opposite of success. Fear is. Fear stops people from trying. Fear stops people from learning. Fear stops people from taking risks. And fear lives in the mind. Rich-minded people feel fear too, but they don't let it make decisions for them. They move forward while afraid. That's the difference. Most people have a fixed mindset. They believe, this is just how I am, or I'm not good at that, or I've always been this way. That kind of thinking will trap you in one version of yourself forever. But people who win in 2026 have a growth mindset. They believe skills can be learned, habits can be changed, and futures can be rebuilt. They understand that who they are today is not who they have to be tomorrow. Your mindset also controls how long you stay in the game. A weak mindset quits when things get uncomfortable. A strong mindset understands that discomfort is part of growth. Every level requires a new version of you. If you quit every time it gets hard, you'll never reach the level that's meant for you. Let me tell you something powerful. Rich-minded people take responsibility. They don't blame the economy, their family, their past, or their circumstances. They may acknowledge those things, but they don't live there. They understand that blaming gives temporary comfort but permanent weakness. Responsibility gives power. When you take responsibility, you regain control. In 2026, comparison will destroy a lot of people. Social media will show you highlights of other people's lives and make you feel behind. A strong mindset understands that comparison is a distraction. You don't know their story, their struggle, or their sacrifices. Rich-minded people stay focused on their own path. They run their own race. Another thing mindset controls is patience. Most people want success fast. They want results without process, but wealth takes time. Growth takes time. A strong mindset understands delayed gratification. It understands that planting seasons come before harvest seasons. People with weak mindsets quit too early because they don't see immediate results. People with strong mindsets stay consistent until results have no choice but to show up. Your mindset also affects how you handle money. Poor thinking says, I'll spend it now and worry later. Rich thinking says, I'll manage this so it can grow. Wealth starts as a thought before it becomes a number. If you don't respect money in small amounts, you won't handle it well in large amounts. Let me say this clearly, your environment will try to shape your mindset. People will project their limits onto you. They'll tell you what's realistic, what's possible, and what you should settle for. But rich-minded people guard their minds. They are careful about what they listen to, what they watch, and who they take advice from. You cannot think on an eagle if you're surrounded by chickens. In 2026, adaptability, skills, communication, discipline, none of that works without the right mindset. Your mindset determines whether you see opportunities or obstacles. It determines whether you keep going or give up. It determines whether you grow or stay the same. Here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Changing your life starts with changing your thinking. When you upgrade your mindset, everything else starts to upgrade automatically. Your actions change, your habits change, your results change. And once your mindset shifts, it becomes very hard for life to keep you in the same place.